Hello and welcome to Troy. Trojan Vision's The Week That Was, where we cover the news and events for the week ending Friday, September 27th. I'm Paige Ray. Thank you so much for joining us today. Less than 3 weeks after announcing his intent to retire, Dr. Jack Hawkins Jr. has decided to continue serving as Troy University's chancellor. In a message from his office Monday afternoon, Hawkins credited his decision to stay to a recent Board of Trustees meeting during which members asked him to reconsider retiring. Hawkins originally announced his retirement to faculty and staff via email on September 3rd. His retirement was set to begin in October 2025, when he would also claim the title of Chancellor Emeritus. Hawkins now says he and his wife will continue to make Troy University a world-class institution.
We were humbled and honored by the board's request would be a severe understatement. You know, I really believe that the solidarity is the key to any organization, and we have that at Troy.
This is a developing story. Trojan Vision hopes to get more information in the coming days. Staying on campus, after 2 years of work, Troy University has officially opened its first building dedicated completely to research. Jimmy Nichols has the story.
1, 2, 3.
Saturday, the Center for Materials and Manufacturing Sciences building officially opened.
When you think that only 15% of all plastics are recycled, and you realize that 85% of those plastics that are not recycled go into landfills and to the ocean, you see what a potentially great contribution can be made here.
With many alumni present, the Chancellor, Board of Trustees, and important figures in the community cut the ribbon so the new research facility can begin its work.
Fundamentally, we study polymers. So we study how to recycle polymers more efficiently. We also think about creating new composite polymers that can be easily recycled.
The building, which will be geared completely to research, meaning no classrooms, is already fully operational and is ready to begin serving students.
What we can learn to gear up and to scale up for the rest of the university.
Jimmy Nichols, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
The CMMS and those who work inside it are expected to partner with local polymer and plastics industry leaders. A new opportunity for student business owners has opened in downtown Troy. Reporter Belle Johnson takes us to the opening day of Troy's new student-made store.
Troy student entrepreneurs now have a space to show off their work. It's called Student Made.
It's actually a third-party partnership. Student Made Store is a company that creates these platforms for students and works with campuses to execute an e-commerce opportunity for student creators.
It's a great space for student entrepreneurs to come and have a workspace and to be able to put their stuff in the store.
Student Made Store was originally founded by Ryan McElhaney and Lindsay Reith. They have opened 14 other online stores for colleges across the nation. Troy has the first ever brick and mortar student made store.
It was a new thing for them, it was a new thing for us. We just started working together in January of this year, and after several months of planning, we were able to cut the ribbon today.
Not only are the products made by students, but the store itself is fully run by students.
All of the products are student made, but also the entire operation of the store is run by students. There are 7 student manager positions.
Roberts encourages students who are interested in selling products with Student Made to reach out and try it.
It really is fun, and it's a great community, and everybody just loves being together. So definitely, if you're considering it, do it. It's a great experience and opportunity.
From stickers to clothing to even crochet items, there is something for everyone at Troy's Student Made Store. Belle Johnson, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
To learn more about joining Student Made, there is a link in the organization's Instagram bio at Troy Student Made. The store is located downtown on the square next to the Idea Bank. In other news, boasting 75 acres and over 10 miles of trails, Troy University's Arboretum is a place anyone can go and connect with nature. Now, new funding is helping to improve the area and make it more accessible. Sarah Campbell has more.
The Arboretum has received a $162,000 grant going to fund new educational and recreational improvements. making the area more accessible for everyone.
We are very grateful for this, and we will be using this money to improve not only things for students here at Troy University, but for community members who come out here, and also for tourists passing through this area.
The grant comes from the Southeast Crescent Regional Commission. Diamond says the main area facing restoration is Hickory Loop Nature Trail.
There's been a lot of storm damage and things have happened over there.
Right now, a creek running through the area makes it hard and dangerous to navigate.
So we're going to be using that money to put in 2 pedestrian bridges to cross the creek. So we'll be able to access that area from the trails here on this side of the Arboretum.
The new bridges will also be wheelchair accessible. Diamond says without the money, these improvements wouldn't be possible.
This is going to give us some money that we can take on a really big job, and it's something we haven't been able to, with the resources we had thus far, been able to do. It's another thing that draws people to Troy's campus. It'll be a positive, I think, for everybody.
They also plan on clearing around 2 miles of trail and connecting them to existing trails.
The grant is also expected to fund educational improvements, including new informational signage and a wildlife viewing area. Still to come on Troy Trojan Vision's The Week That Was, Troy police team up with state law enforcement agencies after several local shootings last weekend. That story is coming up. Welcome back. 2 investigations are now underway after Troy police received several shots fired calls last weekend. Just after midnight Sunday morning, officers from both the Troy Police Department and the University Police Department responded to the area next to the Circle K on US 231 after getting reports about gunshots. When officers arrived, they found a large crowd with several people in cars trying to leave the scene. But as officers were responding to that call, another call came in from the 1000 block of Park Street, which is close to Pell Avenue. As officers worked to clear that large crowd, several shots were fired, sending bullets into a nearby car and home. According to the University Chief of Police, law enforcement were monitoring social media for weeks leading up to the busy weekend.
What a lot of people don't realize is that we had extra state troopers in Pike County, we had extra police officers on duty, we had the entire TUPD force on duty, we had Pike County Sheriff's Office had extra personnel on duty, as well as the State Bureau of Investigation. So we had a lot of law enforcement resources in Pike County prepared to address any issues that would come up.
Both situations are now under investigation and several agencies are involved, including the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, also known as ALEA, the Pike County Sheriff's Office, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Recently, it's been made apparent through social media that there's an issue with people smoking marijuana in dorms on campus. Trojan Vision's Mackenzie Foster speaking with the Dean of Student Services and the university's police chief to get more information about the issue and the consequences that can follow.
In Alabama, the use of marijuana is illegal, which means use of it is prohibited on Troy University's campus. Dean of Student Services Herbert Reeves says smoking in the dorms has been an issue for a long time.
I've been working in responsible and working in housing for over 41 years, and it's been that way for that whole time.
Troy University's police chief George Beaudry says he's seen the same thing.
It's becoming socially acceptable even in areas where the law prohibits it.
According to Reeves, resident assistants have to follow protocol when it comes to people smoking in the dorms. When RAs are aware of the marijuana odor or reports, they can do room checks, but they are not allowed to search the room.
We can't go in, find marijuana in the room, call the police and go, hey, here it is. And the police arrest them. That's, they have to have a search warrant.
If university police have to get involved, Beaudry says that people don't get in trouble for smelling like marijuana. The crime is being in possession of it, which is a second-degree misdemeanor. Beaudry says for a first-time offender, TUPD sends the situation to Student Services, where the student will get an academic consequence like suspension from the university.
Hopefully, if a student gets in the position where that first-time offense gets them enough discipline over there that maybe it'll change their trajectory without us having to take them to jail.
What happens to a student if this isn't their first offense?
It's highly likely that on a second offense we're going to take them to jail, which will in fact be their first criminal offense, so it's still a misdemeanor.
Beaudry says this semester TUPD has been called due to marijuana odor in the dorms. However, officers have not reported any students to Student Services or arrested anyone. Mackenzie Foster, Troy, TrojanVision News.
There's also been a rumor on social media about residents getting a $50 reward for reporting smells of marijuana. Reeves tells TrojanVision that rumor is not true and there is no reward system for reporting drug use on campus. Coming up on Troy, TrojanVision's The Week That Was, a military member who has made history visits Troy to share his story of inspiration. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Welcome back. Wednesday, students in the College of Education got a chance to make connections for future job opportunities. Belle Johnson has the details.
Students in the College of Education were able to meet potential new employers thanks to the Education Career Fair.
We have several school systems from Alabama and also other states that are represented here. So yes, we were trying to get them prepared, get them some jobs so that whenever they graduate, they'll go right into a position.
Students who came were able to practice certain skills needed in the workplace.
Learn how to meet and greet, network, display professionalism.
McKee says all students will soon have the opportunity to talk to employers at the All Majors Career Fair.
As this one is for our education majors, the event next Tuesday is for all of our students.
For those attending the All Majors Career Fair, there are a few things you will need to bring.
Prepare their elevator pitches so that whenever they do get to talk with these employers, that they have a general way to introduce themselves and to explain their majors and their goals. Also bring your resumes.
McKee says she hopes all of these opportunities help students reach their career goals. Belle Johnson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
That All Majors Career Fair will be Tuesday, October 1st. Students who attend do need to wear professional attire. Staying with campus news, Troy students marched down the sidewalk last week to raise awareness for world peace during Troy's annual Peace March. Jamison Fowler takes us there.
That was the chant that echoed through Troy University's campus as students from all races, cultures, and countries marched from Hawkins Hall to the International Arts Center for ISCO's annual Peace March.
Peace is usually thought of on a very global scale and tends to go more towards anti-war sentiments, which I also agree with, but for me, peace starts in the heart, and it really has to do with how we treat people on a more personal level.
Just outside behind the IAC is a wounded dove made by the renowned Alabama artist Fred Nall Hollis, who recently passed away at the age of 76. The dove represents the sin of war, but also represents peace, as students holding flags of different nations surrounded it in a worldwide message.
It's very nice to have us get together and talk about peace. It's not something you can bring up lightly in a conversation, really. So to have something like this on campus, especially when it's for credits for a class, it really promotes having those conversations between students.
Troy hopes that one day there will be peace throughout the world as they come together as a community, one step at a time. Jameson Fowler, Troy, TrojanVision News.
ISCO is already planning for its next event, which is the annual ISCO Festival. That'll take place in November. It's one of the organization's largest events. It's meant to showcase multiple cultures from around the globe. The Troy University Jazz Ensemble now has its first performance under its belt after playing its first show with a theme some may say was atypical for the jazz genre. Ty Davidson has the sights and the sounds.
After weeks of preparation, the Troy University Jazz Ensemble opened its season with its first performance taking inspiration from video game music.
Spring semester last year, we have a theme for a concert, concerts and video game stuff was suggested, and I thought it was a great idea.
Despite this being the first show of the year, ensemble members say that nerves were not a problem and that they were fully prepared to perform.
I was not nervous at all, because the band has been ready, I think, for this concert for over a week, so it was more just looking forward to it, and these guys are ready to go, and they proved it to me. It wasn't too nervous, just because I know we know how to do everything, so it's just a matter of doing it all at the right time.
Of course, it wasn't all work and no fun. The ensemble members also had some moments and songs that they particularly enjoyed.
Definitely Bomb on Battlefield is my favorite. Just like playing Mario games growing up and like hearing that song a lot, like on my through my DS, so just it was very nostalgic. The second song, The Wave, is a favorite of mine and one actually when I was this age, I played in a band.
Ty Davidson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The College of Communication and Fine Arts now turns its attention to its symphony band concert, which will be next Tuesday. It's a story of perseverance and inspiration. Recently, Troy University welcoming a Special Forces warrant officer who's considered to be the first Special Forces operator to return to combat as an above-the-knee amputee. Liliana Heaton has his story.
At some point I come to and I'm being carried on a stretcher by a couple of my teammates and I'm being loaded on a helicopter. Turns out that it had been over an hour and a half since I had actually been hit.
Army soldier and entrepreneur Nick Lavery told students about his military career and how losing his leg never stopped him from doing the so-called impossible. Nick's seminar gave a look into some of the military mindset and how those who serve our country really look.
I think we all go through challenges, not just in the military, not just as a student, but just walking around. And I think anytime that we can improve that with any sort of information that we can get, any sort of knowledge we can get, especially from somebody that's experienced, who's gone through it, that we can relate to, I think that can help seriously.
After losing his leg, Nick goes on to become an entrepreneur, writing his own book and working as a Special Forces warrant officer.
Still have at least a couple years of active military service. I still have a lot to learn. And I'm in a leadership role now, and that is a science and an art and a responsibility that you are forever a student of. My days of being one of the guys kicking down the doors and doing the work on the ground are beyond me, but now I have the awesome responsibility of mentorship and guidance.
Nick hopes to continue inspiring young students.
My next chapter of life, which I've had the opportunity to really already begin. I got a foundation and some great people that I get to work alongside of within that line of effort and really see where it goes.
Liliana Heaton, Troy, TrojanVision News.
He's also a recipient of the Silver Star, 3 Purple Hearts, 2 Bronze Stars, among several others. Next on Trojan Vision's The Week That Was, it's really been a busy week for Trojan athletics. And before the football team took the field against Florida A&M, Will Eldridge was pitting the 2 teams against each other in a virtual simulation. Here's what that preview showed.
Hello and welcome back to another College Football 25 simulation of the Troy Trojans football season. This week we have the Troy Trojans back home inside Veterans Memorial Stadium to take on the Florida A&M Rattlesnakes. This is Troy's first time back home inside Veterans Memorial Stadium since the first game of the season. Having no wins in the column in real life, all the pressure is on the Trojans. Florida A&M scoring on their first drive, putting the score 7-0 to start the game. No touchdown for the Trojans on their first drive, but they do pick up a field goal, putting 3 on the board. Florida A&M struggling little to none as they pick up another touchdown on their following drive. The Trojans do get in field goal range, but unfortunately just barely miss, being just a tad short. With that miss, that leaves our halftime score at 14-3. The second half of the game for the Trojans bared no fruit whatsoever, with turnover after turnover after turnover. Fortunately for the Rattlesnakes, the same cannot be said for them, as they would pick up a field goal and then on the following drive, another passing touchdown. A lackluster performance for the Trojans indeed. On the other side of the ball, Florida A&M's quarterback will have 194 yards for 3 touchdowns. Will Eldridge, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Now keep in mind that the result of each of Troy's games this season has been the opposite of what that simulation has predicted, and it turned out that's a good thing. Parker Flowers explains.
Saturday, Troy returned home to take on Florida A&M in their second home game of the year. After kicking off the season losing to Nevada at home and then dropping the next 2 on the road, the Trojans were off to a cold start. And the first half showed the same. Although there were a few explosive plays here and there, multiple passes were dropped and there were flags thrown on Troy every other play. All this led to an evenly contested first half, but akin to the previous head coach at Troy, John Summerall, the team seemed to be completely revitalized coming out of the locker room for the second half, outscoring the Rattlers 20-3.
It was awesome to see. I think the first thing was our staff didn't panic. I think you have to relieve a little bit of stress too, thinking, well, hey, we're only up 5 points. We're playing an opponent that some people perceive you should beat or we should be up more. All those things creep into your mind. Everybody's human too. And I thought we did a good job of saying that you don't have to worry about those things. This game is hard, right? There are a lot of good opponents. That's a championship football team. You all saw how they looked. That's not a mistake. Those kids are good players. They're well coached, right? They play championship football, and you could tell that. So I think that allowed us just to go out and play free in the second half.
And the unanimous player of the game would have to be Devontae Ross, who tallied 229 yards on 11 receptions, a Troy University record. On top of that, he also found his way into the end zone 3 times, the same amount as last week whenever they were in Iowa.
It's a blessing, man. You know, all glory to God. You know, without him, I wouldn't be able to do the things I do. You know, without my teammates, you know, every day, you know, get me better. You know, my coaches, I love this coaching staff. They do a great job of putting us in good positions to be successful. So, you know, like Goose said, it takes a village, you know what I mean? And I'm just thankful for the first win of the season and to be a part of this team.
Parker Flowers, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
The Trojans open conference play this Saturday when they take on the Warhawks of ULM here at home. As Troy football receives recognition for its successful weekend, it has also been noting a few key concepts from one of the running backs who was in action. Neela Cole has the latest on one Trojan who continues to be the best version of himself on and off the field.
With Troy football's first win of the 2024 season against FAMU also came Troy's longest run of the season. Running back Damian Taylor scored a 40-yard touchdown run on Troy's opening drive.
This is probably our first game where I want to say all 3 facing and executed to the best of abilities. Offensive-wise, we played a great game. Defense-wise, we played a great game. Special team, we played a great game. So it's our first time really binding together. And as you see, we had a solution and had a success we wanted.
Taylor's touchdown also marked Troy's first score this season on an opening drive. By the end of the night, number 3 on the field finished the game with 109 rushing yards on 15 carries.
It felt great, of course, but I think it felt even better just seeing my team and seeing like the fans and everything get all hyped and all. So it's pretty worth doing all I got to do to help Troy out, just being the best version of myself and being the best version for the team.
This game also marked Taylor's second touchdown of the season so far. Moving forward, Taylor will continue to work with his teammates through adversity.
We didn't know exactly what our adversity was going to be, but I guess our adversity was being the starting of the game with like 3 losses straight. But we handled it pretty well. Nobody hung their head down. Nobody started sloping. Everybody came each week with an opportunity like, hey, let's do better. Because, you know, once we put everything together, we know we can actually succeed and get the guaranteed wins that we wanted.
Before a game, Taylor listened to artists such as Meek Mill and Lil Wayne to get him hyped while also praying to God for strength and endurance. Neela Cole, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Moving to women's golf now, the team hasn't seen much in terms of action since placing third at the Green Wave Invitational. However, that hasn't stopped one Trojan from getting some well-deserved recognition. Neela Cole has the latest on what that Trojan is up to today.
After a second-place performance at the 2024 Green Wave Invitational, Laura Fangmeyer was named Sun Belt Conference Women's Golfer of the Week. Fangmeyer is Troy's first Women's Golfer of the Week since Alyssa Mercado in the spring of 2022.
I was so happy when I heard. It was really a great feeling. It's like an honor, and I was just so happy when I heard.
The junior fired the 5th lowest round in Troy's program history with a 5 under 67 in the Invitational's final round. Fangmeyer also carded 5 birdies and no bogeys as well.
There's always things you have to work on. Just, you know, that last tournament was really good, but then, you know, you just got to keep working and practicing.
Previously in Fangmeyer's golf career, she turned in the second best season by a Trojan with a 75.19 average and 3.55 score versus par. She also led Troy with 3 top 10 finishes. Looking ahead, Fangmeyer will continue to set a bar for herself.
Definitely to win a tournament as a team, and then to win a tournament individually. That would be one of my goals. So yeah, good start into the season for us, and for me personally too. I played really good, and just go out there and have fun and play for my team.
Fangmeyer is originally from Austria and is majoring in sports management. Neela Cole, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Fangmeyer, along with her fellow Trojans, will have a couple of weeks to prepare for the Pirate Collegiate in Greenville, North Carolina. That'll be hosted by East Carolina on September 30th. The Troy men's golf team has officially started its season. After months of practice, the team traveled to Louisiana to take a swing at bringing home the Argent Financial Classic Trophy. Of 17 teams, Troy had to land somewhere, but where? Tavares Dennis has the answer.
Troy men's golf team is in full swing. The team's first tournament of the year was the Argent Financial Classic held in Louisiana. The trip resulted in new hardware being added to the already storied display. After 3 rounds of play, the team sat at 7 shots under par, securing the #1 spot in the tournament. From an individual standpoint, Nick Fout shot 8 under par, landing second in the standings.
It felt great. A lot of hard work, even leading up from last year and over the summer, just kind of culminated to our first team victory for the year.
Securing the trophy was a goal the team outlined heading into the season, but this go-round, the cards were stacked against the Trojans.
To go into a tournament with a lot of teams that we knew are competitive and that we wanted to beat to start with, to be able to beat them and bring the trophy back home, especially in the first term of the year, is definitely huge for us in momentum and confidence moving forward.
A major win to start the season added 2 tools to Troy's already talented pool of players: confidence and momentum.
Our practices are well run this year, and I mean the confidence is high for us. So we just need to keep putting in the work. I mean it obviously showed in the first tournament, and this is just the beginning.
The team has 10 tournaments scheduled this season, and it's safe to chart 1 in the win column following their 2024 debut. Tavares Dennis, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And that's all the time we have for TrojanVision's The Week That Was. To see what's happening on a daily basis, tune in to Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday. You can also visit us anytime at our website. Until we see you next time, we hope you have a wonderful week.